All right, now we just finished Revelation 5, and I'm going to jump into Revelation 6. It's a reasonably short one, one page and a bit, page and a quarter. So we'll see how long this takes and see if I get through it. Okay, so Revelation 6, we have the worship scene in heaven, Revelation 5, and we have the Lamb beginning to open the scroll. He takes the scroll from God. So Jesus has taken back the authority or the legal right to heaven, or to earth and humanity, taken it back from Satan. Um, okay, so now we jump into Revelation 6 through 12. So I'll do Revelation 6, and like I said in the previous video, Revelation 6 through 12 is an overview, like the bird's eye view of what's going on on the earth, um, like a synopsis of what's going on during the tribulation. So when we get to Revelation 13, then you start jumping into deeper details about certain things. Okay, so 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Let's see if I can zoom in there a bit. No. Okay, sorry. So the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Then I saw when the Lamb opened one of the 7 seals. So Jesus is beginning to open up the seals on the property deed. I heard one of the 4 living creatures say with a voice like thunder, "Come." So this is the first seal. So this is the first judgment upon the earth. I looked, and behold, there was a white horse, and the one riding on it had a bow, and the crown was given to him. He went out as a conqueror, so he might conquer. So this first rider of the 4 horsemen, this is what people used to, this is the general term was the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, that's what we always heard. And that's gone kind of into culture, hasn't it? The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. So the first horseman is actually the Antichrist. So again, I think I said this before, Antichrist means against Christ. It also means instead of. The Greek can also mean instead of Christ. So the Jews, they rejected the real Messiah. They it's funny when you actually read the passage in the Gospel where they actually choose Barabbas instead of Jesus. They actually choose. That's a picture of them choosing the Antichrist, because Barabbas is a type of Antichrist. He's like a picture of the Antichrist. So, and his name was actually Jesus. Barabbas. His name was actually Jesus as well. So, and Barabbas means Bar Abbas. So Bar is son, Abba is father. So his name was Jesus, son of the Father. And he wanted to be a king. He was revolutionary. So they chose their king. And they said, "Let Jesus' blood be upon us." And it was. So here is the Antichrist introduced in Revelation 6. He comes out on a white horse. So a white horse is a war horse. So um, it's a in ancient times, if a king was coming towards a city and he rode a donkey in, that means he came in peace. If a king rode a white horse in, that means he came in for battle, came for war. And you'll notice that when Jesus rode into Jerusalem, he rode on a colt, a donkey. So he came in peace. And the next time he rides in from Zechariah, if you look back in Zechariah 14, I think it is, he rides in on a white horse, and all the saints are behind him. So he's going to ride in a white horse, and it's going to be for war. So, if you follow Jesus, you don't follow a baby. If you follow Jesus, you don't follow a man stuck on a cross. If you follow Jesus, you follow a general, because he's going for war. He's coming back for war. So they saw a white horse, and the one riding on it had a bow, and a crown was given to him. So a crown, he was given authority. So the Antichrist is going to be given authority for a period, and he comes in a white horse because he's going to be here for war. And the interesting here is the one riding on it, he had a bow. So he didn't have any arrows. He had a bow. So there is the idea here that, initially he's going to come without ammunition, so he's going to come in some sort of peace. So the the in Daniel, the Antichrist is presented as someone offering false peace. So the Antichrist is going to come and he's going to offer false peace to the Jews, and this is what I'm talking about here as well. So he went out as a conqueror so that he might conquer. So he's going to give a false peace, and through that false peace, he's going to conquer. And that's how Antichrists do it. You remember how Hitler did it? Hitler, another picture of an Antichrist, another figure of Antichrist who came after the Jews, and the Antichrist is going to come after the Jews. So Hitler went in and he offered false peace everywhere. He had false peace with. He came in first with peace agreements with Stalin, peace agreements with England, UK, peace agreement with. I think it was Stalin. I'm not sure, did he do a peace agreement with the Polish? I can't remember. Anyway, he came in with peace agreements and then he broke the peace agreements. And this is what the Antichrist is going to do as well. So when the Lamb opened the second seal, so we're on to the second seal, I heard a creature saying, "Come." Then another horse came out, fiery red. The one riding on it was permitted to take peace from the earth, so that people would slaughter. So the people would slaughter one another, and he was given a great sword. So this is basically all out war is going to come on the earth during the tribulation. So you remember Jesus said on the sermon on Matthew 24, he said that ethnos will rise against ethnos. So it says nation against nation in a lot of English translations, but it actually means ethnic group. It's ethnos is the original Greek word, and ethnos is where we get the word ethnic from. So it's almost like religious groups or racial groups will go against racial groups, and basically strife comes upon the earth. And this red horseman brings great. He took peace from the earth, and so everybody's just going to be at each other's throat. And okay, so we move on to the third seal. When the Lamb opened the third seal, we heard a creature saying, "Come," and behold, I saw a black horse. So this is the black horse where is it here? The black horse. And the one riding on it held a balance scale in his hand. I heard something like a voice in the midst of the four living creatures saying, "A quart of wheat for a denarius, and 3/4 of barley for a denarius, but do no harm to the oil and wine." So this is it's an interesting little part of it here, because the balance scale is. Do you remember in a shop where back in the day, 100 years ago, if they were measuring out things, they'd use a balance scale to give you out your goods. So this is alluding to scarcity, and basically global scarcity, and global famine, more or less. And here it says a quart of wheat for a denarius and 3/4 of barley for a denarius. So barley is obviously a lesser value grain, and wheat is more valuable grain. So a quart of wheat um, is probably about maybe a quarter of what you might need to survive a day anyway. So a third maybe of what you could survive a day on. So a denarius was, in the ancient times, a denarius was a day's wages. So a, a quart of wheat is what you're going to get for a day's wages. So this could mean like global maybe hyperinflation or global economic strife and joblessness, and nobody has the money either becomes worthless or supply becomes so how would you say constrained because of this strife that comes upon the earth that a whole day's wages is going to buy you half as much or a third as much as what you're going to need to survive. So you're going to be hungry. There's going to be great hunger. But here at the end, here's the interesting thing. Sounds a bit like Soviet Russia, to be honest. But do no harm to the oil and wine. And who feeds themselves with oil and wine? The rich. So the great masses are going to be in hunger and strife, but the protected ones, the one at the top of the pile, the rich, the political class, the oligarch class, they're all going to be fine because do no harm to the oil and wine. They're going to have their oil and wine, and they'll be well stocked up. But kind of like North Korea today. It's kind of this is where the world is heading. Starvation for the masses, and the one big fat man up top. So then the Lamb moves on to the next one. He breaks open the fourth seal, and I heard a fourth living creature saying, "Come." And behold, I saw a horse, pale greenish grey. The name of the one riding on it was Death, and Sheol followed with him. So Death and Sheol. Death is actually in the Bible. Death is a personality, and Sheol, as hell, basically, is a personality too. Death followed behind him, or Sheol followed behind him. Authority was given to them over a fourth of the earth to kill by sword, and by famine, and by plague, and by wild beasts of the earth. So it's basically a total. What I've written down there is like this total collapse of systems, human government systems, human economic systems. And a fourth of the earth is going to die. So there's 7.5 billion people, call it 8 billion. So 2 billion people are going to die from war. And we just talked about scarcity in the previous one. So, and now the fourth one comes out and he says he's going to bring famine and plague. So when famine comes, plague comes anyway, because your immune system gets destroyed. So this fella, is going to bring war, and he's going to bring famine and plague. How nice. You better hope you're not here. There's only one way to do that, except Jesus. When the Lamb opened the fifth seal, so Jesus is going through them here. He's onto the fifth seal. I saw under the altar the souls of those slaughtered for the sake of the word of God and for the witness they had. So later on for the witness they had, later on it's going to delve into those who are on earth and they accept Jesus during the tribulation. They're the tribulation saints. These people that come to faith during the tribulation, and they will be slaughtered for their faith. And you're going to be given a choice. Follow the beast or get killed. Renounce Jesus or get killed. Take the mark or get killed. And it's actually a picture of what happened back in Rome. If people didn't, if they didn't profess Caesar as God, then they were killed. And the Christians didn't do that. They wouldn't give their allegiance to Caesar as God. So here we go. So those souls were slaughtered for the sake of the word and for the sake of the word of God and for the witness they had. And they cried out with a loud voice, saying, O sovereign master, holy and true, how long before you judge those who dwell on the earth and avenge our blood? So they're dead now, and they're saying to Jesus, come on, how long are you going to let this go on before these evil people on earth aren't going to be slaughtered, taken out, or our blood isn't going to be avenged? And then a white robe was given to each one of them, and they were told to rest a little while longer until the number of their fellow servants was complete. So during the tribulation, so in the church age, there's going to be a number remnant of the church age that will be taken up in the rapture. They'll be the true believers. Then everybody else will go into the tribulation. And then during the tribulation, the greatest number of believers that has ever happened on planet Earth will come about. There'll be a mass accepting of Jesus then, I think. So Jesus says, hold on now, wait. There's lots of people, fellow servants like you, that are going to come, and they're going to get their time, and they're going to accept me, and they're going to be saved. So Jesus says, wait. So they're brothers and sisters who were to be killed as they had seen. So there was more to come to faith. And in a way, the tribulation period, that 7-year period of wrath, is actually a blessing, because this is the end of time. God ain't going to do much more after this. You either choose or you lose. So you choose Jesus or you lose. And through all this pain and hardship that's going to happen, people are going to run to Jesus like never before. And that's going to be a blessing for them, because they'll have eternal life then. And the greatest number of saints ever will be created at that time, will accept Jesus at that time. So then I saw the Lamb open the sixth seal. So we're on to the sixth seal, and there was a great earthquake, and the sun became as black as sackcloth made of goat's hair. So this is a very thick sackcloth. So the sun was blotted out, and the full moon became like blood, and the stars of heaven fell to earth like a fig tree drops unripe figs when shaken by a great wind. The heaven ripped apart like a scroll being rolled up, and every mountain and island was moved from their places. So this is describing, the greatest earthquake that ever happened on planet Earth. And it's even going to level mountains, and it's going to disappear islands. But however, there's going to be a huge, great earthquake. However, it's brought on, and the sun is going to become black, and the moon is going to become red, and there's going to be stars fall of heaven fell to earth like great figs. So this could be asteroids, or these what you call it, comets. Not comets, but probably meteorites or asteroids are shooting into the earth. Maybe we hit a big asteroid belt. Who knows? And the islands are going to be moved from their places. Right. And then the kings of the earth, and the great men and military commanders, and the rich and the mighty. So these are interesting. These are the ones that are still going to have their oil and wine. The kings of the earth, the great men and military commanders, and the rich and the mighty, and everyone, and then everybody else, slave and free, they hid themselves in the caves and among the rocks and the mountains. And then, probably because their houses were leveled, and then they'd tell the mountains and the rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of the one seated on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb, for the great day of their wrath has come, and who is able to stand? So this tells me that they actually know where this is all coming from. So they say, protect us from the Lamb. This is actually, so they know that Jesus is bringing this about, but they're not going to accept their faith anyway, because they accept him as king. Sorry, because they are kings. They don't want to. They don't want to. How would you say? Relinquish their power. So the political power on earth, and economic power on earth is, a sure road to hell if you can't handle it. Okay, that's Revelation 6. We've got through 6 seals, and then we'll move on to a very interesting chapter. So I think, I hope that kind of opens it up for you, and hope you find that as a blessing. And okay, we'll see you on the next one. Roll on, Revelation 7.